Now we are going to make a drawing file that will show our new presentation view, and it will also have a parts list or a bill of materials. So we're going to come down and go back to our drawing file that we keep using, our BHS drawing file. The project name is Puzzle Cube. Sorry about that. Let me come back up here. Puzzle Cube, and then your name. And I'll just say period 2 this time. And this is going to be an explosion with BOM. Another name for BOM, bill of materials, is a parts list. So we're going to say OK. And there is our standard drawing file. It filled in the information for us for our title block. The base view that we choose is actually our presentation file. So we're going to choose the presentation file, and it will be, I'm going to use this one. And if you notice, it looks like this. So we have to change it to where it is our ISO top right. Notice how large it is. It's too large to fit in there. So that is a 1:1. I'm going to try something that's about like 0.85 and just see what that looks like. That works pretty well. So I'm going to use that one. And I forgot to tell it to shade. So now I have to hit escape. I'm going to go back and I'm going to edit that view and tell it to shade it. If you need to rotate it some, you could use the rotate button. Just a reminder so that you could do a custom rotate. This is where that is found. Just a reminder. Now, what we've got to do, if we're going to use a bill of materials or a parts list, what we have to do is go to Annotate, and our parts list is right here. So we say parts list, and it says parts list for what? Well, we're going to tell it we want a parts list for our presentation view that we just did. So we're choosing that same file. It's asking me about what level. This is fine, and we're going to say OK. And yes, we want to enable the bill of materials view, and it gives us a box. We're going to take that box and we're going to place it. We could either place it right here, and I want to move it, and you have to move your cursor around until you get the little red. There you go, the little cross. Then you want to scoot it right next to your title block and pull it up to where it's about the same height. So that looks nice and neat. I'm going to take this and I'm going to scoot it over. Although in just a second we're going to delete that description column. In this description column, if it were a regular part, you'd put, say, for example, if I need 5 screws of a certain type, or 25 nails, you would put descriptions here. I'm going to come here and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to table, or to edit the parts list. And what I want to do is highlight that description column, right click, go to column chooser, and we're going to, since we're not using the description column, we're going to actually remove it. So we remove, and then we say OK. And now we can apply or say OK, and there is our parts list. Now, we can actually, in a parts list, there's more than one location. You could put it down in this area. You could scoot it over and have it, since it doesn't take up the whole thing. Or you actually, another place that you'll see a parts list sometimes is in the top right hand corner. So we would have to move our presentation view, and we may be able to actually adjust our size some and make it a little bit larger if we do that. So I'm going to make it 0.95, and let's see what happens. And I'd have to move it down because we don't want it to overlap at the top. That works. So that it uses most of our space. Now notice that all these part numbers have, all of these parts are described by their file name and by their item number. We need to put the item numbers on there. They're called balloons. So I'm going to click balloon, and I'll start with the green one because it's pretty simple to see. And you click on a outside line segment and you pull the balloon out. It should not be directly horizontal, should never be directly straight up and down. It should be at an angle. And then you right click and tell it continue. Notice, oops, that one, I don't know why that one did that, so I'm going to delete it and do it again. I'm going to say I want to balloon, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to do that. Right click and continue, and it kept it this time. Now I'm going to balloon the yellow part. I'm going to do the same thing. I could click it here, or I could click it up here, or I could click it here. Right there will work. Click and right click and continue. I'm going to do this one. I think I'll do it on this side. Right here, I'm going to pull it out. Right click and continue. I'll do the blue one down here. Blue part right here. Right click and continue. And finally, this black piece. Click here and right click and then right click and continue. Notice that I can see the arrow every time. None of the arrows are over the part. They're all completely on the outside of the parts so that it's easy to see. That is all you have to do your drawing file for your explosion. And with the parts list, we're going to save it. And you're going to save it as a puzzle cube. We're going to save it, and we're going to name it Puzzle Cube Presentation. To make sure you're saving it in your 913 Puzzle Cube folder, and say Save. And if you need to do this, say Yes to all, and OK. I also want you to save this one, File, Save As, Save a Copy As, and I'm sure you've guessed it, we're going to save it as a PDF file. And save. When you see it come up as a PDF, then you know you're finished. You can close it, and you are finished with your Puzzle Cube drawing files.